measures, including a proposal for the setting up of specialized courts and naming and shaming in the fight against illegal mining. How viable are these proposals, and how much of an impact will they have? And that's an issue that's been highlighted after this release. But here's a communique issued by the National House of Chiefs at the end of a roundtable dialogue with the Environmental Protection Agency and its liaison groups on illegal mining activities held on Thursday, 25th of January, 2024. Now, at the conference hall of the House in Kumasi, a number of things that they've resolved, that the members of the House of Chiefs resolved to select Sepsi Amiaiso traditional area in the Western North region and Jura traditional area in the Western region to be used as a case study to roll out the decision that they had taken, and that members of the House resolved to, after all of that, in respect of environmental degradation arising out of illegal mining, that the members further resolved that there should be the adoption of the concept naming and shaming metropolitan municipal district assemblies and traditional areas on illegal mining, the Akobing principle. Also, that members decided that the proposed amendment to the EPA Act should strengthen the power of the National House of Chiefs in the relevant laws. Additionally, traditional authorities must be made members on boards of the respective regulatory institutions. That members further resolved that the proposed amendment to the EPA Act should empower Nananom to form a task force to enable them fight illegal mining, the menace, effectively. So the chiefs want to be more involved in this fight against illegal mining. That their members also propose that there must be an establishment of a special court to prosecute offenders of illegal mining and logging expeditiously, and that members finally propose up to the end of March 2024 to have engagement with political parties on the inclusion of the eradication of illegal mining activities in their various manifestos. So that's those are the issues that the National House of Chiefs resolved to do. Now, let's have a conversation on this, because there's been that proposal over time to have chiefs get more involved in the fight against illegal mining, because they are the custodians of the land where these Galamsey activities take place, beyond what government brings in with this Operation Hawk and all the others. But convener of Eco-Conscious Citizens, an environmental NGO, Awula Serwah, is joining us on Zoom. Awula, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. You had written an open letter to the president about the need to fight Galamsey. Now, as you said, he should redeem his presidency. Tell us about that. What's been the response so far?
Having me. Yes, we sent the open letter to the president. It's being signed by over 250 individuals and CSOs. Now, what we are asking the president to do, we all know the situation. He himself recognized it 7 years ago. He talked about the state of the Ghanaian space and desecration of our forests and contamination of our water bodies. So it's not in dispute. We know what's going on. And he said he was prepared to put his presidency on the line. The sad thing is that 7 years later, the state of the Ghanaian space is far, far, far worse than when he promised to put his presidency on the line. So we are very clear that he has a few months left before the end of his presidency. He had 7 years. He hasn't used it, but it's never too late. So we want him to start immediately. There's immediate action he can take. We also think that because of in terms of the illegal mining, the government is complicit because they have made things easier. And we want, for example, the withdrawal of EI 144, which declassified parts of Achimota Forest, the lungs of Accra, who in his right mind would cut off part of their lungs. And then we want the LI 2462 to be withdrawn, because you see, this LI allows virtually unfettered access to our forest reserves, even globally significant biodiversity areas. And that is not good for the Ghanaian space. And then we want a pause on illegal mining. I'm sorry, you see, a pause on community mining, because in many cases, because it's not well monitored, it's happening in so many places, it ends up being as bad as illegal mining. So we want a pause because we don't have our act together yet. And there are so many areas where communities are saying they don't want it. For example, we have the community in Sejuatronsu who say we don't want community mining. It will destroy the space, the cocoa farms we have, and pollute the Atronsu stream, which they are very proud of, a beautiful stream. Also, we know that in the Elembele district, they didn't want community mining. At the launch of one of the community mining schemes, Chetawale was supposed to perform. He heeded the request of CSOs and he didn't go because the people there say they don't want it. So we shouldn't be pushing it down their throats.
I see. Now, that point that you make, because that also ties into some of the proposals that the National House of Chiefs makes. They have resolved to do a number of things, including naming and shaming, setting of specialized courts, task force. They want to set up their own task force beyond what the Operation Hawk will come and do in their areas, amongst others. Now, do these recommendations come in as one that is going to have any significant impact on this fight against illegal mining? Taking into consideration what you have said, that the state is complicit, we are not winning the fight against illegal mining, which is being led by the state. Now the chiefs want to take part in the leadership in the fight against illegal mining. Awula.
It's very encouraging. I mean, the truth of the matter is, Galamsey cannot go on in its present form if everybody was playing the role they should play. I mean, if the chiefs were policing the areas they are in, and some of them were not involved, it could not be going on. But then I think that this communique is refreshing, is a step in the right direction, and it needs to be commended. But let me say here that naming and shaming will only go so far if nothing is done about it. To give an example, I mean, so many organizations named and shamed the directors of Akonta Mining. Where has that led us? Have they even been arrested? Are they being investigated? So the fact of the matter is that I think the communique is brilliant. It's a step in the right direction, but there needs to be a follow-up on the naming and shaming. And it's a good thing to have the task force, the chiefs and active citizens and the police together. They can police the areas and make sure that there's no illegal mining. And that's why it's very, very important that they should have the specialized courts. Because my information is that in some areas you find illegal mining going on. Even when they are arrested, the very next day they continue with the illegal mining and nothing serious is happening to them. So hopefully if we have the specialized courts and our eyes are on them, would actually have proper prosecutions and convictions, and the message will go out loud and clear that illegal mining is a no-go area. So I think it's a good step in the right direction.
I see, but then again,
the other issue,
the chiefs are also seeking to be on the boards of regulatory bodies. Will that compromise them rather than empower them in any way?
And before I go, can I keep on stressing to all Ghanaians that we face an existential threat? Water is life. If we don't stop this illegal mining that's going on, and even as I said, the fact that we like our food, do you know where your tubers are coming from? If they are being grown in contaminated soil, what do we think is doing to us? The fish we eat, if they are swimming in mercury and cyanide, what do we think consuming them is doing? The water we are drinking, even when we buy bottled water, are we sure of the source? So I want to encourage Ghanaians to reject illegal mining, not to sit by as if it doesn't affect us. It affects each and every one of us. And let's hold the president accountable for the promise he made to put his presidency on the line. Those who have put their lives on the line are some of the active citizens in different communities, the journalists, including the likes of Erasmus Asaredonko, who have put their lives on the line, making the documentaries, whether Poison for Gold or Distraction for Gold, the police officers who go to arrest some of these illegal miners who are armed. But all of us, the chiefs, the religious organizations, we should all add our voice and say no. Ghana belongs to all of us. We cannot allow it to be poisoned by a few selfish, greedy people. And we'll all come together and make sure that they are apprehended. It's not a question of political party. And we should understand that if they are funding political parties, what's the point of being in power when the citizenry is being poisoned? We've talked about the rise in, well, we haven't talked about it on this show, but I think we all know about the rise in maternity deaths and the birth of deformed children in Galamsey areas. And we also know that there's a rise in kidney disease. So for heaven's sake, let's all join the fight to say no to illegal mining and no to community mining, a pause to community mining, because we haven't got our act together as we speak.
And rightly so. Indeed, I do thank you, Awula, and thank you for your thoughts and all the issues that you have raised. And this is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next.